Alright, y'all, today we're taking a look at the 1993 Tomy Sonic the Hedgehog Supersonic Pinball. And this is a vintage tabletop pinball machine, and this is actually the first one that I have owned. What sent me down this path was Evil Genius Entertainment. So, John, this is your doing. I blame you. But yeah, so he did a video a little while back while we're all sitting around waiting, sitting on our hands for our virtual pinball machines to come from Arcade 1-Up and Legends pinball machines. And he did one on a tabletop pinball, and I thought it actually looked pretty fun. And I started going down the rabbit hole of looking at just different games, and I come to find out I didn't like so much the newer pinball ones. I mean, they're okay. Some of the newer tabletop pinballs are some that look okay, but I really came to find out that I like the Tomy ones, like the vintage, older, ones. I think there's like a Atomic Pinball. I think there's one. I think is it called American Pinball or that one? I can't find that one for sale. But that one actually looks really cool. But some of the Tomy ones actually looked really neat, and I was like, wow, I think I actually would like to grab a vintage or a Tomy, older Tomy one. And then I started looking on eBay, and come to find out, there's a Sonic the Hedgehog themed one. And I'm a Sega fanboy, so that kind of one thing led to another, and here we are. So this is, I mean, it's a licensed one. I'm sure some of the other Atomic ones are probably better, but I got this on eBay for $50 with the box. And I had to have the box because if you look at this thing, it is just fantastic. It's retro, pump up the action dudes. I mean, it's what else do you want from a Sega fan? I mean, if you're a Sega fan, a Sonic fan, this thing is just fantastic. So I had to have it. There was one caveat, and that was that I got this for, now a working machine alone usually runs you between $40 to $50+ shipped from what I've seen on eBay. Now this one I paid about $51, $52 for the unit and for the box. And like I said, I really wanted the box, but the issue is that it was untested. So I really had to have that box, and I was willing to risk the fact that it wasn't tested. And I got it to work, and it was working for a little bit, and then I would hear it turn off, or it would keep going. The motor would keep spinning, but the unit itself would stop vibrating. Because basically there's some lights, there's some sound, some rumbling that go on. And come to find out, I mean, this thing takes 2 Ds, which basically handle all the rumbling and shaking, and then it takes 2 Cs, which handle the kind of the sound and the lights. And I just figured this person probably just didn't want to buy $10 worth of batteries to try this thing out. And like I said, it played for a couple minutes, and then it would stop rumbling, but you can still hear that motor going. So I decided to myself, I'm like, well, let me just take this thing apart and see what's what. And that's kind of like what we're going to get into now, is we're just going to take a look at what I did kind of to fix it. It may help someone, and then we'll get back and I'll do some gameplay to wrap this up, and we'll take a look at the table itself. But in here, after you open this sucker up, it's just a bunch of screws on the back. What I found was that, like I said, the motor was still running, but nothing was shaking. And this little black box over here on the right, which we're going to zoom in here on a second, was basically that's where the motors were. In that little casing, there are 2 different motors. And one motor controls the actual shaking of the table and all the vibration. And then that back motor, that's the front motor right here, controls all the vibration and like just the rambling of the table. And this back motor spins around and it does the scoring. So the scoring is controlled by that back motor. The table shaking and everything else is really controlled by that front motor. And this little plastic gear here, what was happening was when it was spinning, and that after it spun for a minute or two, that gear would just keep going up and up and up to where it wasn't touching the other 2 gears. And then that's why you would hear the motor spinning, but nothing would be turning. So I was like, well, I think, what can I do here? And I just wasn't thinking. And I thought I'd just put a little dab of glue on there. I'm like, maybe some Loctite or some super glue on there would do the trick. just hold it to where like it just wouldn't even if I just got something to stick on the axle itself, it would keep it from riding up it if it just hardened up there and kept it from riding up there. So I put a little dab on, and something must have got down in there, because after that, basically the motor seized up, and I was like, crap, I damn broke it. So I look online, and a motor you can find, I found the exact motor that I needed, and it only ran about $1.50, and I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. But the issue was that nobody would sell me a motor alone. They wanted, like, all these places that would sell motors would have like a $20 minimum charge, and I'm like, crap, I'm not trying to spend $25. I was trying to do this on a budget, just like, just for fun. And then I'm going to be like $70 in, and I was like, shoot, I need to keep this as low as I can. So I found this. The only place I could find place that would sell me a single motor was on eBay, and I found one that looked to be the same one, that like the part number for the most part was the same, and I ordered it. It was about $7. Got here, come to find out, it looks identical, but it's just a tad bit bigger. It's not the exact same part number, but I thought that it looked identical. Like the prefix of the part number was the same, so I thought maybe that the last numbers that were different stood for the RPMs. So I'm like, well, maybe it's just the different revolutions per minute. Got home, like I said, it got shipped here. Couldn't fit it in there. So then I'm like, crap. So then I just took everything apart after that, and it was like, well, let me just take this motor apart. So I took the motors out, took the motor apart, disassembled it, and then I basically just cleaned it out really good and started spinning it with my hand, and I must have unseized it eventually. So after that, I was pretty good. I put everything back together. So I got the motor to where it would spin again. It wasn't seized. I put it back together, and I come to find out that the way you can keep it on is you take yourself a little file or sandpaper, because I finally took the time to look it up online and did a good amount of research. And if you take a file and just rub it like on the axle or shaft itself, spin it a little bit and just rub the little file, and you just want to roughen it up to keep that little gear from spinning or from sliding up the shaft. So you just do this for maybe 20 seconds, 25 seconds is all it really takes. And after that, you can tell when you go to put that little gear on, the plastic gear, it's harder to get on. And once you have it on, you put everything else back together. Then you can turn it on. And you'll see this top wheel right here is supposed to have pressure on it. That's what is supposed to be spinning the entire table. But you can see that small wheel was not riding up. It's just sitting there steady as it should be. So I was like, wow, it actually worked. That's all that it took. So I mean, in the end, I had to spend $7 or so to order a part that I didn't really need, and a file or sandpaper would have done the trick. And I've read that you can put the same article that I found that gave me this tip said that you can put Loctite down in there. But after I got it working, I said I'm not going to try my chance with Loctite or super glue again. So that was really it. That's all that it took. And I mean, maybe this is something you can take and apply to a table that you have. If you have any of these, or even just small toys in general, it's probably a pretty common issue with small motors. And it may be something you could apply to something that you got around the house that seems like it's broken. Because it definitely is hard to find the right parts and pieces for like a, what is it now, almost 30-year-old little table. And you can see here you got the little buttons that do the paddles. One button does 2 paddles on the right, one paddle does the other button, 2 buttons on the left. And here up is your scoreboard. And it basically just goes up in increments of 100. And you got your on-off switch on the side, and that's basically where I accidentally rested the soldering iron and melted the thing a little bit. And the pinstriping, or the little sticker here, basically is not as nice as it could be, because when you take it apart, that's basically that sticker is right on that the line where the split in the little machine is. And same thing over here, you got the same little sticker and just a button for the paddles. And that's it. And it actually has really good weight. It's pretty solid. It's not as big as I was expecting it to be. It's a little thing. Definitely would fit on a shelf really nice. Looks really cool. I mean, it's for a Sega fan or a Sonic fan. It's just a cool little thing to have. I mean, I don't know how much I'll play it. It is pretty fun. The table is works really well now that I got it fixed actually. But the kids like it. They like playing with it. I like it. And it's an actual tabletop pinball machine. And it's, like I said, made by Tomy. It's licensed. Licensed stuff, typically isn't as good. I get it. Some of the other Tomy stuff is probably better. But for what it is, it's a lot of fun. So I'm going to do some gameplay now. It gets pretty loud, so I don't think you'll probably be able to hear me talking. So, there you go. So you see the turn on. You got everything kind of shaking. Come down here, you go to the ball. Pretty good. Definitely is not. It's a cool little pinball machine, in my opinion. I'm sure that some of the other Tomy ones are nicer than this. This is probably not near as good a quality as some of the other Tomy ones because it's a licensed product, and obviously with licensed products, you know what you're getting. There's a lot of action. It's actual, cool little tabletop machine. Points, boy, get them points. Yeah, so it looks like it only increments like in hundreds. So right now I get 1,500, 1,700. And as you can see, like I said, it works pretty good now. That's definitely the best that it's worked since I've gotten it. So that fix looks like it worked. Now another one, it looks like you could also put Loctite down in there. I've seen people say you could sand it and then file it and then put Loctite down in there. But like I said, that's what I did to fix it, and it cost me just $7, $7.50, whatever it was for the wrong part. Could have cost me nothing if I was a little bit more patient and knew what I was doing. So I may actually try to pick up another vintage pinball machine and just roll the dice on it. Maybe see if I can get one for a cheap one. There's some cool ones out there that I think look really nice. I think I'm definitely gonna pick up another one. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know if you enjoyed the video, if you want to see more videos like this. I thought it was pretty fun. Like I said, it's a cool collectible. I'll put it on the shelf, take it down every now and again and play with it. The kids like it, they have fun with it as well. But yeah, that's it guys. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Later.